but we can still talk smack, but no off-color jokes. Okay,
Right.
so we're broadcasting here. I'm waiting for the stream to come across. And just remember, never cross the stream. Do you remember what movie that's from?
Oh man, I should know that one. No, I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's Ghostbusters, man.
Oh, that's right.
Remember,
Right.
never cross your streams.
It's been a long time since I've watched that movie.
Well, I think it might be time for us to re-up on it. I've got a couple of pages that it's coming across. I'm waiting for one more. But while we wait for... Actually, it's two more.
Okay.
Okay. But while we wait, we might as well tell everybody... And we're back! Here I am, Fly Navarro with the No BS World Tour. Look who I got here, man. The guy that loves me so much, and if you don't believe it, just check out his Facebook page, because he seems to tell the world that he loves me every time he's next to me. Peter Chaibongsai from the Billfish Foundation. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the No BS World Tour. Peter, what are we doing today, buddy?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you having me on tour with you. But if that, how should I put it?
Does that make you a groupie? Maybe.
No, because it seems like, well, I guess in a way, a lot of people love you. Anyone that's next to you, for some reason, if that could be on the boat, on the golf cart, anywhere. So, no, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you, to talk shop, and to see if anybody has questions, and to answer any questions they might have about the foundation, about what we do, about what I do, or if they just want to hear us, talk nothing for the next 20, 30, 45 minutes or so.
We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We got Nick in the house. We have Alex from España. Joel McLeod is in the house. That's on your page right now. I'm opening up all the pages just so.
I see Stuart Simpson's on the line. What's going on, Stu? Philip, what's going on?
Man, we got everybody. This is what I like. This is what it's all about. Let's
Good to see you folks.
I have Josh Wilkinson in the house. He even says, "Hey, Peter, do you know Josh Wilkinson?"
Yep.
Josh is Boater's Planet, so hitting up now. Let's see who else we got. Oh yeah, Stuart Simpson's in here. Peter Chaibongsai's watching. How you doing there?
Yeah.
That's what it says. Maybe your wife has your account. Jim O'Neill is in the house. In case you missed it on the first go-around, let's do it on the second go-around. And we're back! I love seeing it. Stuart Simpson is fishing tomorrow. Cape Verde is opening up, it looks like. I like to see that.
Stuart, looking forward to seeing what you guys catch over the next couple of days. You got a lot of catch-up. Come on, TikTok, buddy, TikTok.
TikTok. They did miss a lot. Dennis Hill's in the house. Robert
What's going on,
Hollingsworth. It's so not. I'll tell you what. Spanky joins us just about every day from Destin. I love seeing Spanky on here.
I love his Facebook post. Spanky here. Setting up. I love it.
Spanky here. And now you see why I made sure I got your name spelled correctly, so we can have it.
I see that, and I appreciate that.
There was a lot. There was a lot of things that you appreciated when I sent you the picture that I wanted to post to broadcast this. You're like, I'm surprised you even asked.
Well, I mean, those that are friends with me on Facebook, it's on my feed, it's on my timeline anyway, so it's there.
Yeah, no, I love it. Let's see. Oh, Abdullah's in the house. I got to do it for him because he even typed it in there. And we're back. So, do you know Abdullah from the Maldives?
I do not, but a couple of people. Actually, that's a great segue, because a couple of people, I need to look it up, have reached out to us about reporting their releases and maybe tagging some more fish out in the Maldives. So I don't know if I'll have to take a look at that. Maybe I can figure out there's some sort of connection there between your connections out there as well.
I have a bunch of really good friends out there. They came and fished my tournament in Saudi Arabia. So we got a chance to get together and talk. We've followed each other for a long time. They were able to catch their first daytime swordfish a couple of weeks ago.
So, congratulations. That's awesome.
Also, big shout out to Miss Vilma Nunez. She joined in.
Hey, Vilma.
Vilma's in the house. I'm assuming
Josie's got to be somewhere there.
He's probably very close by, along with Rocco. Rocco's the dog. You met the dog.
I saw. I did see the dog
when we went live with Josie the other day. So
I see that. I see that Spanky said that OBBC is happening next week, and we know that as well. So I'm glad to hear that both will be going off of that. Unfortunately, as people probably know, they're abiding by the social distancing and so forth. So unfortunately, no mass gatherings from what I hear, but it's good to hear that people are going fishing next week. That's
awesome. I have a couple people joining in, but I have to. So Vilma says, hola. She says, no, Josie, he is napping. Might I suggest, and hopefully Peter will back me, this is the time for a sleeping selfie. This is the time for a sleeping selfie.
100%.
And it would be a double because Rocco is napping with him. Yes. Vilma, yes.
Do it, Vilma. The only thing that would be better is if you get one of the cigars right next to them and kind of wake them up with this aroma of the cigar.
I can Photoshop it. I can Photoshop the cigar. I can for a sleeping selfie with Josie and Rocco. It would be awesome. Also, we got Roger Casillas in the house from the San Juan International. Kevin Dearman's in here from the Houston.
Going on, Cap.
From the Houston Big Game Club. Cody, keep up the great work, you two. Cody from Save the Charter Boats, which I believe tonight's their night that they're broadcasting. Robin Powell, TBF, the best of the best.
Thank you, Robin. We appreciate it. And Cody, our pleasure. If we can do anything, let us know. Anything within our power, we're obviously want to support the community as much as we can.
So, with that, I'm going to use one of your big words. And just so you know, Peter is from the University of Miami, so he has lots of big words. I'm going to use the word segue. You got to pull it. There you go. Pull it back a little bit.
Not like this. It's not like this. It's like this.
Yeah. But you were so close. All I saw was thumbs, dude. All I saw were thumbs. So anyway, let's segue. I want to go, first of all, the one thing that you guys are most known for, and it's because it's out there so much. Mr. Castillo, good to see you, is your tagging program. But that's not all you guys do, but I want you to talk about it. Talk about your tagging program. What it encompasses, what's the goals. So
sure.
Let's go from there.
It's easy. I mean, a quick and dirty explanation for everybody out there, so I don't keep people, is it's a program that's been around since 1990 to try to get anglers to tag, obviously, billfish and report them to us. We have we actually have over 250,000 records from all over the world. You do not need to be a member of TBF, while of course we appreciate it because it's not that expensive to be an annual member. 14 cents a day, people, if you want to think about it that way. But it's a really great program to give anglers a sense of ownership of a fish, essentially, to also understand that they're stewards to the conservation ethic. Actually, today, kind of a neat segue. Today, I had a 2-hour conversation with someone that's going to be presenting at a regional fisheries management organization tomorrow, all about the importance of recreational fishing. And all of this data that we're collecting when it comes from the tagging program and the release program basically helps not only strengthen our argument to the domestic policymakers, but more to the international guys to show them the fact that there are a lot of us out there, and we should hold a higher clout. And the fact that we're doing a lot of the work that, in all honesty, scientists couldn't do. The reason why this program is so successful is because there's so many of us that go out and have a higher chance of encountering this than any, I'm not going to say a regular scientist, but a scientist that's at the University of Miami or Florida State or FAU or stuff like that. They have to get funding. They've got to find a boat. They've got to pay for all that stuff. But luckily, with this program, it allows anyone to participate and provide that information. And it doesn't hurt that we also have a competition to recognize those people. And those people that recapture those fish also get a nice little reward as well.
Okay, so this competition, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So it is an annual competition that begins not on the calendar year, begins on November 1st of the current year and then goes to October 31st of the following year. The only reason we do that is because it takes us a while to make sure all the data is accurate or as accurate as possible. And that takes a little time. We also want to notify the winners, and we have our big ceremony during the Miami Boat Show in February, typically President's Day weekend. So we have this really nice award ceremony, which you have luckily been the MC for at least twice or three times, I think, Fly?
3 times.
3 times. But apparently they told me this year that I did such a better job than you did. So I don't know if,
Did I lose my job?
No, you didn't, because I prefer you to be there. But I'm looking on the screen, I see that Captain Tim Dean is asking some questions, what the program is most known for. So in actuality, it's known for a lot of different things. So like I said, it's used for stock assessments, to understand the fish. It's also looked at post-release mortality, looks at migration, looks at growth rates, looks at effort. So a whole slew of different things that we utilize the data for, and it's all thanks to the community in itself. And there's no way that we would know as much. And it's actually been cited many times that more than half of what we know about billfish comes from our community and these tagging programs.
Okay. Let's see. November 1st again.
Yes, always November 1st, Kat. All right. So, Tim, yes, always November 1st through October 31st. And then the anglers or the people that need to submit, we need to have it in our possession, either the cards or they need to be inputted into our system by November 15th. So it's a 2-week window to enter in all the cards, either from our side or from their side.
And then he has yet another question. I'm trying to, what job? So
what job?
I don't know. It's the question mark. So could you elaborate a little bit, Timmy? So I love Tim.
I love the fact that Cody says, "Oh, burn," and then Stuart's laughing. So there's got to be something that we're missing here.
There must be something. Also, a big shout out to Alex from Cameroon. He's in here. Yeah, and it's not like us to be left out of the inside joke.
I was just about to say, it's typically us that have subtle inside jokes going back and forth rather than these other guys.
What I'm wondering if maybe there's another live going on somewhere else, and they're coming back over here. Your job, Fly. You don't have a job. Oh! Yes!
Touche, yes! Cap. You are 100% on point.
That is so awesome. You are 100% correct on that one.
Oh, my
God. Yes, I do not have a job. I do not want a job. I always tell everybody what I do is I love projects. I do projects. That's what I do. I love doing projects. But no. No job. That's like a 3-letter, 4-letter word. I don't like it. There's Cody. Got him.
I mean, let's be honest. I think everyone would be in agreement. Your job is, in all somewhat seriousness, is to inform and to have better communication between not only within the community but outside of the community. So I know that's one of the things that we at the Billfish Foundation appreciate is the ability for you to and your personality to extend further than the community itself, because sometimes we always kind of get wrapped in the weeds, and it's really nice for when people can reach out to different arenas. And obviously, your comfort, no matter where you are, at people laughing at you, not with you. At you.
No. I listen. I picked up on that, and I'm like this really bad baseball player that I always lob them right down the middle of the plate so they can jack them up. I got a couple. Let's see. Jeff Merrill, who's got it better than me? Hey man, I'm a Cuban in the United States. I'm happy. I couldn't be any better. I do have somebody asking a question on another page, and I'm going to throw it out to you. Douglas Nelson is asking, as a charter captain in the Caribbean, our worry was always showing the longliners the paths that the fish were taking. I'm going to let you elaborate on this.
Sure. That is a great question, and one that we do hear about or concerns about once in a while. But not to worry. I mean, that is something that honestly shouldn't be a concern for you guys. Our data is, well, it is very transparent, and literally anyone can access it. Like if I were to say, hey, could you show me this information for this species? Obviously would not give any private information, but I can tell you, commercial guys, they don't care at all what comes from us. They, in my opinion, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them don't even consider our data to be very useful. I've been told, and I'm sure Fly can attest to this as well, after talking to some commercial guys up in Silver Spring, is that they're way ahead of us in terms of their data. But to Doug's question, going back to it, I wouldn't worry about that. We need more information to come in and more accurate data to come in to really demonstrate who's fishing, what they're fishing for, what's being caught at what time. And it kind of goes hand in hand with one of the new projects that we got going on, which we're working with Dr. Freddie Arocha, which is, excuse me, our juvenile billfish project. So if any of you guys are encountering or have encountered in the past juvenile billfish, so I'd say, maybe so about a less than 2 feet, 18 inches or so, please send those pictures into us with the date, with the and the location, and obviously the picture. That way we can put it in our repository. We're in talks with a couple other scientists now for them to utilize that as well, so we can actually get a better understanding of potentially where some spawning grounds are, to where we need to potentially look at some management measures so there will not be any sort of exploitation, to make sure that those species are there for the long term for all of us in future generations.
I'm going to go back to Nelson really quick, or Douglas. He says he disagrees, but I'm not sure which part he's disagreeing on.
Sure.
I know one thing for sure, that I'm going to agree with you 100%, that they have way more data than what we have as recreational fishermen. I've seen it when I go to Washington. The amount of data that they have and information is leaps and bounds beyond us.
Well, let me give you a quick example. So we like to tout, and we have the largest private billfish database in the world. Like I said, it's massive. When you compare it to even some other governments, even our own, if you look at NOAA's, and they will tell you the same thing. NOAA's tagging program, while it has a larger amount of data, over the past probably 10 to 15 years, we have the highest stream, and most of what's being utilized for stock assessment and stuff like that actually comes from us, because we have such trust from the community, which I think is very special, and people understand that it's transparent too. So people want to know, hey, where's my data? Let me look it up. Can I talk to Peter? Can I talk to someone at TBF about that data? Sure, as long as we know what your end game is. We're not going to obviously give it to any Joe Schmo, but if you're going to utilize it for, a good cause, obviously it is open and out there. And just on that topic as well, in terms of transparency, we're working currently with some developers to get our new tagging database off the ground. Our current one still works; it's still fine, but we're working on a whole new evolved database that everyone can work out to.
Make it make it easier.
Yeah, a lot easier. So we know a lot of people have been experiencing, or not experiencing issues, but have requests, and we've tried to take that into account moving forward.
All right, so we'll segue to the next little part. And this is, I'm going to say this is a little bit specific because this was asked to me by one of your interns. No, it's honestly, this is a serious one right now.
Okay.
But if you want, I'll make a joke out of it. She asked me, as a person in the community, what do I think that the Billfish Foundation does for us?
Okay.
So I would like for you to explain exactly what the Billfish Foundation. Like I said, what you're most known for is the tagging, but what exactly does, on a day in and day out, don't tell me about you going out to lunch at Flanagan's and letting me steal your phone. Talk about...
Well done, sir.
Wha-bam! Tell us exactly, day of a Billfish Foundation in the office, and I don't need what every single person does, but I mean as a general whole.
Sure.
I know because of all the interactions that I have with the things I'm doing. But why don't you explain exactly what the Billfish Foundation does as a whole?
Sure. So, our goal and our mission is to obviously conserve billfish populations worldwide, but at the same time making sure those communities that are dependent, those industries that are dependent on those fisheries and the health of those fisheries are continually be promoted. And that's basically, you look at it essentially in three different pillars: education, advocacy, and science. Okay, so we are known for our tag and release program, which is part of the science that we do, but also within that science, we also help to fund some research. And I kind of smirk at that because, as we've mentioned over the past couple years, our own government doesn't have any lead scientists on billfish anymore, and TBF has been essentially one of the leading funders of any billfish research that have been done, which is great to say, but it's also a little sad to say, if that makes sense. It's kind of a double-edged sword there. So we do a number of things, science-wise, advocacy-wise. Man, we do a lot. If you don't see myself, you'll see definitely Ellen doing a lot, either fighting for, obviously, angler rights, making sure that we can get the most out of what's available, making sure that our voice is being heard, whether it is, looking at potentially reinvigorating the pelagic longline fleets, to opening up closed zones, to weakening some restrictions. We are there to make sure that none of this is, all of our concerns are basically heard in some way, some sort of fashion. And then through that, and through both of those, we use education to where we communicate that hopefully well to our constituents through our website, through our e-news, through our blast, through our website, through our social media, as well as other programs. Or when I'm going out, potentially, let's say, talking with you at one of your tournaments in Casa de Campo, or going to see someone else at Orange Beach or something like that, just being able to talk to people. And I think that's one of the unique things that we do, is we want to be on the ground listening to you guys, knowing what's going on, see how we can help, and making sure that this community is not only promoted but thrives, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So I have a little bit of a question, and
Sure.
But it's pretty. I'm enjoying it because I love the reach of social media. There is nothing that stops any of this information from going out. So Alex from Cameroon, and him and his wife join us every day here in the No BS World Tour. Alex says, tagged a bunch of billfish here in Cameroon over the last 12 years, but received only once a report. Sailfish was caught again in Angola 6 months later. Idea of where the rest went?
So that's a great question, and so I would have to. And what was the gentleman's name again? Alex.
It's Alex. Yes.
So if Alex is still there, so I will tell you. Unfortunately, I wish I knew where those other fish went. It's not. So the way these tags work, it's not a satellite tag. They are mark and recapture tags, to where if Fly tags a fish in West Palm Beach and I recapture that same fish down in Miami, that's where we know where they're going. But unfortunately, Alex, the other 11 fish that you tagged have never been reported back to us. So I wish I could tell you more about those fish, because we rarely get any tags out of the Indian Ocean.
It's on the other side. It's on the Atlantic.
I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies.
That's the U. That's the U.
Okay. But anyway, but I will tell Alex that he is very lucky to even get one. Many people rarely get one, but it goes back to the education aspect. Is if you encounter a fish, if you encounter a billfish, be sure to take a look at the fish closely before you release it. As you're reviving the fish through the bill, do you see something on the side, by the dorsal, that could look like, maybe it looks like a copepod, maybe it looks like some sort of growth? If it is a tagged fish, make sure you know how to look for it and then how to properly take the tag off and how to report it back to us. It's really important to make sure you cut the tag off by the mono, and if there is any growth on the tag, to just go ahead and peel away that plastic layer, and then there should be our email and our phone number and our mailing address with all the information, and we'd love to get that information back. Recapture stuff is gold to us. That's the only way to close a loop for us when it comes to science, and the only way we can get more of those recaptures is through further education like this, by letting people know to please report those recaptures. And the worst part, Fly, actually, is when it's the opposite. So if I were to recapture a fish, but you, as the original tagger, never reported it, that's actually the worst part. And that happens, unfortunately, more often than not.
So before we go on any further, let me give out a couple of shout-outs. Number one, a shout-out to Little JB. John Brooks is here.
I saw what's going on, John.
Mike Samuels is here.
What's going on, Mike?
Miss Jill Yates is here.
Milady.
Robert Hall from Antigua has joined us. Jeff Cowell has joined in, and I'm so glad that he did join in, because he called me twice, and I sent him a message, can I call you later? Now you know why I couldn't answer your phone call. I was busy interviewing Peter. But I do want to give a shout out to Jill, because Jill is, and I hate to say the way, let's see, and you can correct me she is one of our newest members in the fishing community. Her and her husband have just been fishing for 3 years now, 2 or 3 years.
They've taken this community by storm.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable what they are doing. Last year she won, I believe she won top lady angler.
I'd have to take a look.
I didn't give out the awards. I know the year before she had top sailfish. I know last year I think it was blue marlin. And I'll tell you what, and I don't know what their plans are this year, but because of so much shutdown and the fact that there's a lot of people not fishing in Cape Verde right now, if they're going back to the DR, which I don't know if they are or not, but if they go back to the DR, there's a good chance she can possibly take Atlantic Angler of the Year.
No, I would agree with you on that.
Not just female angler, but
Yeah.
overall, because I know they have put up some unbelievable, incredible fishing days, sail fishing here and in Isla Mujeres. So, and I think they just had like 5 days in a row. They had double digits here off of Florida. DR bound. We have.
There you go.
There we go. We got the answer. We got the answer. So,
Bill, where are you going to? Are you going to Casa de Campo, or are you going to just head straight to Cap Cana?
I would say with the time frame,
I'm guessing it's got to be Cap Cana.
It's going to have to be Cap Cana, but
I guess.
right now, I know with the fact that, like I said, Cape Verde, they have not been fishing until today or tomorrow, what we just saw.
Tomorrow, right.
So there's a good possibility that Jill, we may be seeing something pretty cool happening right now. We might be in the middle of something really, really cool happening with that. So at least we...
I want to...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, please.
No, I saw a question by Juan asking about what data that we need for the juvenile billfish again. So Juan, if you're still there, please send a picture with the date that the fish was caught, as well as the location. A lat and long would be fantastic. And then send it to us at tagtag@billfish.org. That way, myself and my colleagues can put that in the repository. Like I said, it's be amazing to have that. Like I said, we're in discussions right now to work with a couple of other scientists around the world to potentially have a project together to use that. So the more information that we can have and the more hard copies of that, that'd be great. I know I spoke with a good friend of ours, Kerry Chen, the other day, and he gave me about 5 or 6 pictures of fish. Okay, I know what you were gonna say.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just laughing when you mentioned Carrie's name. The look on your face, you were just waiting for me to say something.
Yeah, well, I know you. That's why. But he gave me 5 or 6 really great, actually a really amazing juvenile billfish pictures. So I'm really happy that he saw that, and we're going to put that within the repository now.
I'd like to circle back around on something that you brought up, and only because I've had an experience on both ends of the spectrum. So when you're talking about taking a close look at a fish, you and I have a mutual friend who fishes for swordfish, and he had caught a swordfish, put it on his boat. I can mention his name. It's Timmy Palmer. He caught a fish, put it on his boat, cored it out, put it in his ice. Next day, once he came in, he took that fish, offloaded off his boat into his truck to take it to the market. Once he got it to the market, so mind you, he's had his hands on this fish 3 or 4 times. And the guy at the market was the one that said, "Hey, you see this fish has a tag in it."
And Timmy is one of the best guys out there too. Really knowledgeable, super good guy.
Unbelievable, but there was so much growth on it. That he didn't see it. It blended in, but he harvested the fish, plugged it out. So that means he had to cut it.
Yeah. Yep.
And put it into his ice, and then move it from his boat to his truck, take it to the fish house, and it was the fish guy that caught the tag. Now on the other end, and I'm going to answer one quick question for Jeff. We haven't discussed the World Cup here yet. That wasn't my plan today, but Jeff, the World Cup is still on. We are still moving forward. And I will call you back and give you any information that you need. Okay. Also, I have Jennifer Lacombe in the house. I got Jennifer Dudas. I got Barbara Lehner, Chase Edwards. I got and we have Jeffrey Chapman's wife in here, also watching us. And actually, to use her words, she's scamming on her husband's page to watch this because it says Jeffrey Chapman. Now I want to go back to the other end of the spectrum, a sailfish that we caught on the Lily that had a tag in it. And we sent, I know I sent you the video. I don't know if you still have it. I know I have it. I have it in a Dropbox somewhere. It was part of a triple header. We saw the tag, caught the other two fish first, and then we took our time to make sure we grabbed that fish. And it was like a 3-person process to make sure the fish was healthy. Which is going to segue this into my next part that I want to talk to you about. Grab the fish by the bill. Snicky grabbed the actual tag, and I grabbed the knife, cut it off, and then we re-tagged it, released the fish healthy. But it was just, again, it was looking at the fish, saw something that didn't look right, caught our attention, and we wanted to make sure we took a better look at it. So make sure you really, really look at all your fish. Captain Butch Finnegan, thank you so much. He posted up your www.tag@billfish.org.
Oh, thank you, Cap. One other quick thing: when we're talking about recapture of these fish too. We've had some people ask questions in regards to, is it okay if we bring the fish on board to take out the tag?
That's my segue.
Please do not do that. That could not only injure the fish, it could hurt you. Because we've had people ask before, oh, how do I take out the tag? So that's what we talk about, cutting the mono and re-tagging if you have the tag. Please leave the fish in the water. We don't want you to get hurt. We don't want the fish to get hurt, and I'm sure the mates would appreciate this, the crew. We don't want any of the teak or anything else going on to get scuffed by the bill. Those bills aren't smooth if anyone's touched a marlin bill.
So, and that was the next thing I wanted to talk about, because both you and I have discussed doing some how-to videos on properly handling billfish. And over the course of our shutdown, the last 5 or 6 weeks, I'm watching a lot of pictures come up, and they could be from a long time ago. Some I know are recent. But I would like to take a few minutes, because I know for me it's a big deal of properly handling billfish. I'm seeing a lot of pictures right now of people holding billfish out of the water. And I know I've gone live on Grundon's page and talked about, look at that, awesome conversation. This is something I know I hold dear to me, because people ask me a lot. They're like, oh, can we pull the fish out of the water? And one of the things I like to discuss with them, I'm like, this is a twofold thing. And I never even get into the safety of the crew. I mean, which is of the utmost, but the way I describe it is, number one, you have an animal that's being chased. In their mind, they don't know what's going on. So they've gone through a marathon, let's say. They exhaust all this energy, and now you are going to imagine running a marathon, and then somebody sticks your head underwater. You're low on energy, high on lactic acid. You need the time to get that breath. You need to be reviving these fish, not pulling them out of the water. And then the most dangerous part is the fact that as you pull them up on board, the fact that you're taking off all their slime. You're taking off their natural protection. And people don't realize, they see fish skin and they think, oh, they're safe.
Well, I mean, And that's a great point, especially that last point too. I mean, if you think about if you're inshore fishermen too, think about when you're handling a trout or whatever. They always say never to have dry hands. Think about that. They always say wet your hands first, right? And then you can hold the fish if you need to, because you don't want that slime to come off. That slime is a protective layer, and that is a fantastic, fantastic point. And not to pile on a little bit more, but as you know, because you're part of the AP, it's actually illegal in the Atlantic to take out billfish. The only time you should take a billfish out of the water is if you're going to land it. And we do have a quota, which we've never reached, thankfully, and hopefully we never do. But really, there's no real reason to take it out. There's no real reason unless, it's a world record of some sort. Yeah, those are all fantastic, fantastic points, Fly.
And I just, again, not to pile on, but so people understand what this fish slime is. The way I like to describe it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, imagine you getting into a motorcycle accident and getting road rash, and you lose your upper layer of skin, and now it's exposed. And now you're putting these fish back in the water with their upper layer of epidermis exposed, and it's exposed to bacteria. So here you are thinking, well, I put him back in the water and he's safe, he's going to live. But really, you just uncovered his whole protective body.
Right.
And unlike us, they're not going to sit there and take antibiotics.
Right. And I think the other fair point, not to lose focus a little bit on what you're saying, I think the other good point that you brought up was when you've caught the fish, when this fish is, giving you this amazing experience that, to bring it in close to the boat to where maybe you tagged it, maybe didn't, you were able to actually release it, get a proper release on. Before you release the fish, please make sure you revive that fish, especially if you've been fighting that fish for, let's say, 20, 30 minutes. A revival, can sometimes take 30 minutes, and I know a lot of anglers don't want to hear that, but you want to make sure that, and Fly, you know this more than anybody else, you want to make sure that fish swims off strongly. You're not the one to actually keep holding it up. It should actually be able to free swim before you let it go.
Absolutely.
The last thing we want it to be, is one of my old colleagues used to say, is a mud dart. So
it's a term that's used a lot. And for those that don't know what a mud dart is, it is a billfish that just goes straight down because it's dead and ends up in the mud. And that's not what you want. You want a nice, healthy fish. And here's another issue. Between the surface and it hitting the bottom, if it gets that far, the amount of predators that are in that water column. You want that fish to be as healthy as possible before you release it. Very, very good point. I'm going to jump on something that Bruce Burnett is saying, which he makes a lot of sense, that people might not, the correlation that here in South Florida we have a lot of people that live bait, and he is talking about why we use dehookers to not touch the live bait is because we don't want to get rid of their slime because they get bacterial infections. Well, it's the same thing with billfish.
Same thing.
It's the same exact thing. So it's a big... Whoa! Did you just type in a thank you?
Yeah, I did.
Man, juvenile billfish release info just mailed to you, Peter. I'm like, did I miss another? I'm trying to keep them all in line. And then I see your name, and I'm like, you're supposed to be paying attention to me.
Well, you're not that enthralling. Let's be honest.
Okay, so let's jump to another question from Rob Lane. And I don't know if you remember Rob Lane from the Lady Lane.
Okay.
So he says, for the yearly tag and overall release awards, does the TBF list the actual numbers that the winners caught?
That is a great question. We do not. The reason being is so let's put it this way. We run on the honesty system. on the honor system. And if we were to put out the numbers, we have known in the past that, I don't know, Fly, you can probably attest to this, there tend to be people that might want to cheat, and they'll basically say, look at this. I had 575, and you said he had 571. Here's clearly showing 575. And
you better answer your wife. I do not.
How do you know it's her?
Because your kids aren't tall enough to look up. You went like this instead of like this.
Well done. So where were we? Oh, so we run on the honor system, okay? And luckily, this community is fairly tight, to where there's a lot of checks and balances between that. So we do not post numbers. We will always post top 5.
Okay.
What we are planning to do, though, to give you a little nugget, or to give him a little nugget, is we will have in our new system, we will have some numbers until 2 or 3 months before the end of the competition. That is my goal, but that will not be seen for the next couple months. But because people have asked for that, we will display it for maybe the first half of the first quarter, but I will not show those final numbers at the end.
Honor system. Wait a second. I want to continue on this a little bit more in depth. I have to give a couple of huge shout outs. Number 1, we got Greg Newell in here. Number 2, a big love of both of yours and mine, Miss Peyton Prophet. She's in the house. So we got to give a lot of love. But I also want to give a big shout out to Captain Marlon Parker that's joined in. And also Mr. Elliot Stark has joined in, who used to be a former TBF.
Yeah, used to be at TBF.
Yes, so I want to give him...
Still a good friend of ours from In the Bite.
Yes.
Editor-in-Chief, I believe.
Yes, so big shout out to all them. This is the first time I've seen both Marlon Parker and Elliot here in the No BS World Tour. So
I'll take credit for that.
Welcome. Hey, listen, you can take all the credit you want. I don't care. I'm just happy that we can sit here, we can have this conversation. Peyton's saying, thanks, guys. Just finished teaching stuff, so I just jumped in. Don't worry, we're not in a rush. We got a lot of stuff we're still talking about. But let's talk a little bit about this honor system.
Sure. Because
it's a competition. How do you patrol it? How do you handle it when it happens? Okay,
so great question. So here's just to be very quick about it. We are let me see how I can phrase it. We cannot police single record that comes in.
Okay.
Because that would be 15,000 records. Being able to find every individual, get a lie detector on them, would be next to impossible, and we would have to raise membership rates by a lot, so to speak. We don't have the capacity and the funding to do that, to be completely honest. That's why we work on the honor system, and I like to believe that 99.99% of the anglers and the captains and the crews are being very honest about it. And luckily, I would say, on top of that, as in terms of the checks and balances, there are a lot of people with their eyes out to make sure what's happening. Okay? I won't name any names.
I'm not asking you to. Right. I just
I can tell you there have been issues in the past. There will be issues in the future. If it's to the point to where we need to get involved, we will. I'll put it that way, and we have. But typically, we work on the honor system, and if it's egregious to where it's literally doesn't make any sense, and we hear a lot of different issues, potential issues with someone's entries, then we will investigate a little bit further. But like I said, we like to think that with the capacity that we have and with the eyes that are already out there, with a lot of people knowing other people, where they're fishing, when they're fishing, how they're fishing, what they're fishing for, we have enough checks and balances to say, well, I'll get a tap on the shoulder or an email saying, hey, do you know if so-and-so's here? Do you know if so-and-so is there? So I hate to kind of say that there are people that we don't employ anyone that does that, by the way. It's just people just let us know what's going on.
And it's like anything else. It's always sooner or later the truth always comes out. I'm asking you how, and I'm asking you for everybody that's watching.
Right.
I have seen how some of the stuff has been policed over the years, and I just wanted to ask. So, and you made your point loud and clear. So let's move on to the next thing. I'm just checking. Off the Oregon coast here, they have been catching sailfish and blue marlin and billfish off the coast. That's
off of Oregon?
Off of Oregon. I got to look into it a little bit more. That's from Corey. I got to read it. I know during some of the El Nino years,
I do remember hearing that they were catching some
striped marlin.
Yeah, if he could contact us, if he actually has legitimate records, release records, or know people that would be open to giving us some of that information, we would love to see that. See if there's any correlation with any sort of physical oceanographic event that happened, whether if it's an El Nino or just something, a weird line that just came through. I'd love to see that information. That kind of stuff is always really, really interesting. And actually, one of our summer interns will be working on something similar like that.
Okay.
Can I go back a little bit real quick?
I'm all about circling around.
All right. So there was a gentleman. No, I need to find it. I can't find him right now. Someone asked if we satellite tag fish.
I know exactly where that was. So go ahead.
Yes. So, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the satellite tag. Someone probably said Oregon Inlet, not Oregon.
Oh, no, no, possibly Oregon. Well, I know Corey lives in Oregon because he sends me.
Right.
So, Bradley, just so you know, I know, and to let everybody know, right now we're broadcasting across 5 different pages. I've got 3 of them up on my computer right now, so as you see my eyes bouncing, I want to make sure we get every single one of them. So, yes, I know that... Corey lives in Oregon. He gives me Samuel Irvine just joined in.
What's going on, Samuel? His baby's due soon.
Let's give a big shout out to Samuel and his wife about having the baby. Congratulations. We are good. I miss Peter because he oh, look, Captain Bouncer Smith! Yes!
Man, the myth, the legend.
You know what? This is like the lottery, man. I'll tell you what. You know what? I really do have to give it to you. So, as far as I'm looking at the numbers, the quantity is down. The numbers aren't as high as yesterday, but the quality today is unbelievable. We got Marlon Parker. We got Bouncer Smith. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, guys. We appreciate it. We've been covering a lot of different topics, but going back, so we do satellite tags. We typically satellite tag. We have these expeditions once a year. The past couple have been the Gulf of Mexico. We've done Costa Rica, Bermuda, off of North Carolina. We always like to do them in one big bunch, so it's more scientifically significant. So we typically try to get, if possible, obviously depends if the fish are there, hopefully 12 to 15 tags out. That way we have more data that would support any sort of hypothesis that we're trying to determine.
Okay, so for the people that are not familiar with a satellite tag, would you mind describing? I know what it is, and a lot of these people that are watching, but just for the handful of people that may not, or maybe that this got shared to a watch party, and something that I don't know, would you mind explaining to everybody exactly what a satellite tag is?
Sure. So a satellite tag is a different kind of tag that you can put on a fish. Obviously, that involves satellites. But what it does is it provides not real-time data, but it provides data on a more frequent basis to where it can provide us different kinds of measurements from dissolved oxygen to depth to light levels to speed to all these different variables that help us understand a little bit more of where these fish are going, how they're behaving during certain time periods and during certain periods of potential change, whether it's a moon phase, whether it's during an El Nino or La Nina, trying to figure out a little bit more information. Because like I said from the very beginning, our traditional tags, which have given us a majority of the data, provide a significant amount and still do provide a significant amount of information. But the satellite tags augment that by a lot. The problem with satellite tags is twofold. One, not everyone can afford them. They cost upwards of $5,000 a tag. So I don't know about you, Fly, but do you have $5,000 just in the back of your pocket?
It's just so funny. I think I have $5,137 and some change. But that's because I was expecting you to ask me to buy one right now for you. So.
But so here's the thing. The traditional tags, which are just in point, cost basically $3 a tag versus a satellite tag, which is $5,000. So that's unfortunately because of the companies that make satellite tags. There's only about 3 or 4 of them. They basically can set the price, and it's really difficult for these pop-up satellite tags to be mass-produced. But satellite tags are very important, and we try to get them out as much as possible. As long as we have the funding for it, we try to do it. And like I said, we like to do it in one big batch because we want to get as much information from that area for that specific targeted species at that time. So there's no question of anything that's happening during that time or for that species or during the skill set of the people that are deploying the tags themselves. So.
I want to give you a piece of information about satellite tags. I don't know if you know. And if you do know, you can slap me on air. So, Dr. Eric Prince,
right,
which began the satellite program many years ago.
Yep, with us,
So, I did not know this until many years later. I ran into him when he was getting inducted into the IGFA Hall of Fame. He came up to me, and me and Dr. Prince, we go way, way back. And he actually helped get me on the HMS panel. Him and Ellen. They both wrote a letter for me. But Dr. Eric Prince came up to me and he said, he says, I can't thank you enough because of what your boss did. We still considered him the grandfather of satellite tagging. That Jim Lambert, they considered him the grandfather because when it was at their beginning, we were in Bermuda and it was Dr. Brian Luckhurst.
I know Brian very well.
Brian was taking some samples and he started talking to Jim and they started talking about satellite tagging, but that it was so expensive. And Jim said, how expensive? And he said, I see that. We'll jump on that here in a second. And he says, well, they're $5,000 a piece. And Jim said, I'll tell you what, here's my card. Call my office. My secretary will cut you a check for $150,000 for the program, but we get the first 10 tags. And what we ended up doing is we split it in 2. We did 5 in Bermuda and 5 in St. Thomas. So that's where my friendship with Dr. Eric Prince started many, many years ago.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that that your boss in that boat, I'm sure Ellen would probably speak a little bit more highly because I don't remember meeting him, but that doesn't necessarily mean I never did. But I just know that Ellen spoke so highly of him, of the whole crew. Basically, I didn't know that you helped to or he helped to shepherd the entire program. But that is really interesting. I'll talk to Ellen about it. I'm sure she has some really cool stories.
I love to hear the stories. And for those of you that don't know, maybe that only know me here on social media, before I was doing all this, I worked on the Real Type for 14 years. And the first 8.5 was with Jim Lambert, who not only was he and correct me if I'm wrong by using the word, magnanimous man.
That's a good way of putting it.
He was incredible for our industry because, and you talk about reviving fish, and I was specifically thinking one in particular. We were in St. Thomas, caught a nice fish, 350, 500, I don't know. But I remember we were holding on to the fish and dragging him to revive this fish for about 20-25 minutes. And Jim was always one of those that he didn't want to give up fishing time, but he always wanted to make sure the fish was in great condition. So here we are, we're towing the fish for about 20 minutes, and we're tired just holding on to this fish. And I guess he put the spread out on the other side. And we hooked another blue marlin. And it's like, what do we do? He's like, don't let it go. If it's not ready to go, if she's not, healthy enough to be let go, don't let her go. We got a fish on. We'll deal with it once she's okay.
Right.
So, that was the kind of guy that he was. But that was one of the stories about us making sure that we took care of the fish. There was a lot of things that we did that caused me to learn about how to properly take care of these fish, that now as I've continued to grow in my career and do more work with you, or should I say you guys at the Billfish Foundation, when I speak about it, it's a lot of the stuff that we did on that boat.
And that's the thing too, Fly, is the fact that being able to pass that knowledge, that traditional knowledge, and that respect to the next generation. That's the whole point. It's, what you guys are doing, the fact that it's being more apparent that, hey, well, let's keep the fish in the water because, it's better for the fish. Let's do what we can to help support not only the survival of the fish itself, but more importantly, or just as important, more important, but just as important is the promotion and the continuation and hopefully the thriving industry that this is. I mean, think about how much South Florida depends on sport fishing. Think about it.
The state of Florida as a whole is $119 billion a year recreational fishing.
Right, and it's crazy to think about when you talk to anyone within the general public. Florida's not a great spot just because a lot of people here do fish or understand the aspect of fishing. But if you were to go somewhere else and talk about how important sport fishing is for the United States or for a certain state like Florida or California or North Carolina or even New Jersey, stuff like that, I think a lot of people would be shocked to see how many people are actually ingrained within the community or their livelihoods are dependent on that. It's really neat, though, and you can probably attest to it even more, being a part of so many of those programs, so many of those courses that take people out fishing for the first time, seeing them hook their own fish or, just getting out on a boat sometimes, just being able to experience that saltwater is an experience that is, in my opinion, second to none. And it's really hard for people to comprehend and to understand that feeling until they get out there and do it themselves. And whenever people talk about that and talk about, fishing, which doesn't really mean too much to me, I don't have a boat, but luckily I have friends that do. I always just say, just before you make any judgment, any predetermined judgment, please just go out there, go out with a couple friends of mine or go out with me on someone else's boat and experience what we experience. Understand that there's so much more to the fish, so much more to fishing than just the fish.
So I have this conversation almost on a daily basis, especially now since we've been locked down, because I'm talking to so many people. People confuse fishing with catching.
Right.
Catching is actually catching the fish. Fishing is the time that you spend with your friends and family, waiting for that to happen. There are so many friends of mine that are some deep ingrained because of fishing. We spend a lot of time because we share the same passion. We pick up the phone, we can talk, we share stories because we have the same passion. So that is definitely something that people need to understand about fishing. And I posted some pictures just, I think, last week or a couple of weeks ago of our trip down in the DR with Mike Samuels, where we had a hoot. I mean, I don't know what better word to use other than a hoot, but we did. We had a very good time. There was a very lovely picture of me and you where I was in deep thought telling you what I thought, and you were just ignoring the shit out of me.
Well, that's about normal. That's about 99% of the time, Fly.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at the bird.
Well, I'm sure Mike or anybody else, if Junior's on or Jennifer's on or anyone that knows you, they'll probably attest that's about 99% of the time that, whenever you're trying to talk to us, we're probably not listening to you.
I actually had somebody reach out to me after one of these lives, and they asked me a bunch of questions. I'm like, here's my number, call me. And we started talking. And they said, you know what, you're so much different than what I heard. And I'm like, well, what'd you hear? And they're like, well, not some very nice things. I go, $10 says they said I talk too much. How did you know? And I'm like, because that's what everybody says. And the other $10 is they're probably from the fishing industry. And yeah, how'd you know? I said, because nobody from Home Depot tells me I talk too much. It's only other fishermen that tell me that I talk too much.
Oh, man. That's perfect. That is perfect. Oh, my God.
Oh, it's so great.
I mean, it is honestly, I think most of us really understand this. Even those people that take, do this as for a job, it's a pretty amazing business and community that we're in. It's, as I was telling someone early before, and probably what I'm going to be saying in some of those videos I'm going to be sending out to Capcana and Casa de Campo is, this industry, we circle the wagons better than anybody else. In all honesty, we take care of our own. We're very generous. If other captains and other people need help within the industry, typically we are there to help out other people. And I think that's sometimes really hard for people to understand. It's a fraternity.
It really is.
Yeah,
it is a fraternity.
It really is.
I got to give a shout out to my boy Richard Gunn from Lucas Oil. I have this just so when he jumps in, I always love giving Richard a shout out.
By the way, when you're speaking of stickers, what about those No BS tour? Are you still giving out those stickers?
Am I giving them out? Absolutely, and I'm glad you said something. You see this button? Hold on, I gotta find it. See that button right there? If you hit it, you can fill out the paperwork, and I'm sending them out for free. That button,
wow,
right there. I was gonna go get the sticker because they're over there. You know what I have here on my computer though? I just showed this.
That is the best.
This thing is so okay.
I'm surprised you haven't had people ask for that.
No, everybody's getting it. So listen to this story, and I don't know if Son Mike is watching. So Son Mike drives around, and I call him Son Mike. It's Mike Samuels, who I fish with on the Lily. So Son Mike, besides fishing, one of his passions is sports cars, or racing cars and stuff like that. So he has a Denali, a Yukon Denali, and it's got this hopped up engine and the whole 9 yards. Well, it's so hopped up that when he's done driving it, he has to open up the hood to let it air out because it gets so hot. So,
no way.
So I show up to his dad's house to go to the boat one day. The hood's open, and I'm thinking, oh yes. So I grabbed my stack of these things that I have, and I put one right on the supercharger. I put one on his battery. I put one on his brake solenoid. Then I put one on his license plate. And then I don't say anything. I just leave. And Bouncer says that's a dartboard center sticker. Amen, brother. Amen. I'll bet you get a oh, you already typed it in. So I let it go, and I don't say nothing. And we hang out on the boat for a little bit. We go out fishing. Like a week later, I get a text message from his mechanic in a group text message with me and Mike and him, and he goes and shows all the places where these stickers are at, and then he posted on Instagram. It is
oh my God.
So for those of you that don't know, I ended up buying some myself. The originator of this sticker, I don't know originally who it is. This is a picture that somebody took of me in Thule, Saudi Arabia. I was out to dinner at a seafood restaurant. The commercial fishermen bring in all their catch. They clean the fish in front of us, and then they cook it and bring it to us. Well, I grabbed a deep-fried snapper. It was whole, and I had it next to me, and the snapper, when they fried it, the mouth went. So I was trying to mimic the snapper, and I posted it on Instagram.
So special. You are so special.
So, and I am special. If anybody who's spent time with me, you know I'm kind of special. Anyway, so somebody grabbed this photo. They made the stickers, and they put them all over Ocean City during the White Marlin Open. And the entire world started contacting me. Hey, where can I get some of these stickers? Where can I get some of these stickers? I don't know. So next thing you know, during the CCA banquet I was at, I took a picture of Captain Terry Robinson, and somebody made.
I know he's got pictures too.
Well, they grabbed the picture from my phone and they made some stickers. So anyway, long story short, he asked me. He called me right away. Hey, dude, is this you? And I'm like, no, but that's a great idea. I says, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll get some. So I got some of him, I got some of me, and you saw me putting them around in Casa de Campo all over the place. And that's
You're welcome, Vilma.
Yeah. every sign that says no fishing has a little stick figure holding a rod with a line through it. Has my face on it now.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So yeah. Big shout out to Yuki Kamada from Japan. His joining us. I met Yuki the first time I went to Shimoda. Do not make that headshot sticker any larger. No. This is. Listen, it's not even 2 inches, Louis. Shut up! I hear you laughing. I know what you're thinking. This is so bad. I love it. Louis, I'll send you some of these as well. It really, so I got the bunch of the No BS stickers, and that's really to thank everybody that joins me live every day.
Right.
It's for me, I'm loving it. I'm watching you laugh over here, so there's like a 30-second delay, and the laugh is coming across over here. So yeah, that was where the No BS stickers came out. Jen made the design, and it's just my way of thanking everybody. Everybody.
No, I think it's a great idea, and the fact you're giving it away for free, it's nice.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to charge but people have called me up and asked, "Can I buy?" I'm like, no, I want to give. First of all, we started this because I was going stir crazy in the house.
Right.
I really was, and then little by little, as this stuff started taking off and people were enjoying it, I started to learn how I could broadcast it across multiple channels. At first, I did it with 2 phones. and then 2 phones and a computer. And then now that I learned how I can bring people in, as you know, and a lot of people know, I have a large Rolodex of people that I know across the industry, and we all have very good stories. And this gives everybody the opportunity to connect. And here, it's now. Oh, look who just joined us! Look,
Junior.
Junior is in the house. Yes, So I've been threatening. So because of Marina Costa de Campo and Vilma's asked us, and you and I did a little parody. I'm not even going to repeat that. I'll let you repeat it.
I see it.
I know. I made you a promise.
Well, shouldn't it be an Italian as well? Shouldn't it be the 3 of us?
It should be. But I made you a promise before we went live, and I'm sticking to it.
I got you.
But I'm threatening to do a all of us, me, you, Junior, Mike, on a Zoom and broadcasting that live. That should be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. Actually, one of the things I'd love to get is for Mike or Don to talk about some of the changes that they've seen over the past couple of years too, and what they see for the future. Actually, for the boat building industry, I think that'd be really neat.
I'd love to hear that. Let them talk about what they're watching, because there's all kinds of things that are constantly. Wow! Wow! I like the fact that you hit it with one of these. How did I get lucky to stumble onto this? Hey, Bouncer, just so you know, the No BS Zone comes live every day. And honestly, Bouncer, I would love to get you on here live. And I don't know if you heard, I started this. It's almost been 5.5, 6 weeks now. I've been doing this.
It's probably been about 6 weeks.
I've been doing this live every day. The interviews I started about a week and a half ago, but I go live every day, and mainly I do it. Mainly I did it to keep my sanity at the beginning, because I'm so used to being around so many people and talking about fishing. Here I am in the house. Tournaments that I have planned, not going the way I want them to go because of COVID-19. Chubb got postponed twice. So I started coming live, and then once I started knowing how to bring people in, I wanted the Peters from the Billfish Foundations. Yesterday I had Shane Jarvis from... Oh my God! To answer your question, yes, they do. I can't.
But hey, Bouncer's asking what time every day. Typically around 3 or 4, right?
Anytime between noon and 5. Usually 3 or 4 is my time. But it's like yesterday we went 5:15 because. Shane Jarvis's kids do Zoom classes, and he's doing line of sight internet down in Panama. I have another one lined up with my connection in Okinawa, so we're going to do it a little bit later. At least I can still make y'all laugh. Oh man, brother, I'm missing seeing you. I haven't seen Junior in 6 weeks, since the DR.
I mean, I still, to this day, the funniest moment, and there's many funny moments with Junior, is still that video at church where he's dancing and you're in the background.
No, I'm in the foreground. He's in the background.
In the foreground, excuse me. That 30 seconds is pure, unadulterated comedy. It's fantastic, though, Don. It is fantastic.
It is so funny because it was a bet that we wouldn't do it, and then we were like, so the person that bet us is a deacon, and so we figured if we're going to do this, we might as well do it in a church parking lot. So we open up the doors, he blasts the song, and next thing you know, and for those of you that don't know Junior, that brother can dance.
He can dance, and he's got, I mean, here's the thing. He can dance, but legitly dance. And then he has got no fear. Remember in the DR, he just took it up with all those girls. You were right to the
It's cracking. And I can't repeat a lot of this stuff. I don't want to. You're forgiven. You're forgiven.
But hey, let's go back a little bit. There is somebody. I think Robin had a question about some of getting some of the youth anglers involved as well. I love talking about junior and some of the other stuff, but let's get back a little bit on topic.
God told me he forgave me already, and dudes too. Oh no, that was to your statement about the girls dancing. It wasn't just right. The girls dancing; it was dudes too. I am fishing almost every day this month. I am available next Monday anytime. Bouncer, I will fill you in for Monday. I will reach out to you and tell you what we need to do. But let's get you on here because here's the funny thing. Even before I knew Bouncer, before I was in the fishing community, my father used to talk about Bouncer. My father used to show me all the different things that Bouncer was doing. So,
well, it's going to be really interesting. I can't wait to see that. I hope you guys are able to do it because I'd love to tune into that and to hear either the stories or some tips and tricks or anything from Bouncer is always going to be good. So that's going to be really interesting to have them on.
So circle back around. You were talking about youth anglers.
Yeah. So I think Robin Powell had asked, how important it is to get the youth involved, and obviously we briefly touched on that earlier in the conversation, and going back to the Tag and Release program, we do that. We have 4 or 5 categories that specifically highlight youth anglers, whether it's for the tagging the most or releasing the most. So we definitely want to encourage that. They're obviously the next generation. I know it's very cliche to say that, but it's the truth. We also have, and many people might not know this, we have youth magazines specifically geared towards them that we give away for free. So if they want...
Free?
Yes, free. So if people want, please contact us. Again, please feel free to contact us at tag@billfish.org, and we'd be happy to send your school, once they eventually open, we're happy to send schools or groups some of our youth magazines. They're geared towards middle school and high school.
That don't look at it. That wasn't for us. That was for Bouncer.
Gotcha.
We're not even we're not even the star attraction of the show right now. It's Bouncer and Junior. Bouncer and Junior.
Yeah, I mean it's understandable. Both of them are.
Peyton, send an email or a message to Peter. She says she needs those for her classroom.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Like I said, it's geared towards high school level as well as middle school, and we're looking actually to do a lot more with them in the future. So I think our maximum that we can send out is about 100 copies per school.
Why is that?
Typically, we want to make sure that we have enough magazines for other people. Our funding for our education program is not large, but we want to give the most that we can. So when people become members or they donate, that's where some of the money is going to, for example. So I have an allocated budget of, okay, I can send out 100 copies of this magazine to X amount of schools if they want that. Some schools only need 30 copies. So other schools give me a little bit of leeway for other schools, but we have to.
Hey, did your wife unplug your Wi-Fi?
Teachers like Pam can utilize that. What's that?
I said, did your wife unplug the Wi-Fi? You broke up there. You're back. Go ahead.
No.
No, you're back. You're back. You're good.
Okay.
Somebody just said, my friend John says I look like Bob Vila of the fishing world. I'm much better looking than Bob Vila. And I make better coffee than he does.
I mean, I can't attest to that. I don't drink coffee, but from what I hear, you do make a mean
Cuban coffee.
Cafecito.
The cafecitos are world renowned. I have hooked more people on coffee than you could ever imagine. Billy Black just posted up your billfish.org, become a member. Dominic.
Thank you, Bill.
And Dominic said, you had me at hello. Now, if you guys want to see this show on the road, we have done this in person. You and I spoke at the University of Miami once, and we had a very, very good time doing it, which I've since gone back to that fishing club and spoken there, and I follow a handful of, I hate to call them kids because they're grown-ups, but very, very involved in the fishing community there.
No, they're great, and like I said, we like we talked about in the very beginning. So our foundation is all about this community and about the fishing in general, to make sure that the fish are out there for generations. So we want to do as much as we can for the community. Like I said, I'm sure, in all honesty, as other people might know, we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours about a number of different things. So at any point, if there are other questions along the way, I'm happy to hit us up.
Absolutely. Shane Jarvis has joined us as well. He says, "Hey, Peter and Fly."
Hey, what's going on, Cap?
It was. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. We had a great conversation with Shane, and
he's got some absolutely amazing fishing down there. You guys have never been down to Panama. That lodge. You should. It's it's pretty amazing.
I think I can get back into Panama because I think my statute of limitations is up, so I can go back.
Are you sure that Shane would take you, though? That's the question.
So after all of our talking, and I've known Shane for a while, Shane's never said, "Hey man, come down." He knows he wants to keep me outside of the EEZ zone. He just stay out of here, man. Stay out.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. You're kind of a handful.
Man, I'm more than a handful. This weekend when I was fishing with son Mike, somebody brought up the fact of me not having kids. I'm like, could you imagine me having a daughter with a goatee? It would be ridiculous. Look at you.
I mean, I can't even. I mean, woo. No, I can't.
Anyway, everybody's been watching for a while. I'm going to cut everybody loose. I want to say thank you. We may do this again with the Billfish Foundation, especially if we get some kind of cool information that maybe we can broadcast out, some recaptures. Maybe we can get some recapture stories and do this again.
In actuality, I forgot to mention this. So one of the things we just released today, which I can share, or they can go to our website, is our 2019 conservation record. So literally every single tag and release record we got for 2019, as well as the recaptures from all billfish species, as well as bluefin tuna and yellowfin tuna, are up. I'm happy to talk again. So if people find this interesting and want to talk more about some of the advocacy stuff, some of the science stuff that we're doing, next week, by that point, I'll have some information about some of the ICAT meeting that I'm going to tomorrow. Waking up at 5:30 in the morning to listen to some amazing conversations. But that just let people know we're obviously there for them. If people want to talk to us a little bit more in the future, we're happy to reach out and to continue this conversation.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Peter, don't go anywhere. But everybody, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you for joining us here in the No BS World Tour. Bouncer, if you're still listening, I will get in contact with you shortly. Everybody, thank you so much. Samuel, all the way from France. We had Alex from Cameroon. I saw Spera and Timmy Dean from Australia. So it's nice to see and Shane from Panama. I love seeing everybody from all over the world. So thank you so much. And I will be here again tomorrow. Not sure who I'm going to interview. I think I'm going to reach out to Peter Grossbeck and talk to him. But I got to make sure I talk to him. Oh, yep. Bouncer's standing by. Abdullah. Man, Abdullah's been with us the whole time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullah, because it's the middle of the night in the Maldives right now.
I hope you learned some stuff or found it at least entertaining.
Yeah, hopefully entertaining. Anyway, peeps, thank you so much for joining us. Actually, this is my nice sign-off that my girlfriend taught me. To all you cool cats and kittens, that is such a COVID-19. Have you seen The Tiger King?
Yes. No, thankfully not.
You're gonna lose brain cells. I promise you.
Yeah.
If you watch
I don't want to watch
but
that.
that's where the line comes from. So that's where I'm saying, all you cool cats and kittens, thank you for joining us here in the No BS World Tour. Peter, thank you, and I will check you guys mañana.